Something that kind of deserves to be addressed, that was one of the things at the crux of the whole schism, was the apparent lack of clarity regarding rank and title. One being the distinction between rank and title. Title is what you focus on, in my opinion. That's the best route to go, and you let the rankings kind of develop organically. That way you don't have to micromanage it from an administrative standpoint. You let it ride, and people have the freedom to do what they will with the titles they've earned. To tarnish them, or to add meaning. But the lack of clarity really shouldn't be there. There's this principle I've always liked. The acronym is K.I.S.S. Keep it simple, stupid. So here's the simple rundown that's kind of always applied and somehow got lost over the last few years. There's 3 primary ranks, or titles. Disciple, Knight, Lord. Very simple. They're almost self-explanatory if you think about it. And over the years, people have expanded and added to the meaning, added nuance, depth, but I suppose some of that adding to it overcomplicated it for people. They lost sight of the simple starting point, the simple framework with which they're working in. So I'll go through each one and try and keep it pretty simple. This is one of those times I really wish that I still had a copy of that discarded holocron I wrote, because that laid it out all perfectly. Better than I'm about to do right now. I'm going to have to revisit this issue a few times before I get the titles and their meanings articulated just the way I want, but to start off with, Disciple is an initiate level, entry level rank. And for years, until a few of the council members wanted to change it and withhold it from new members, I would just automatically add new members to that ranking, that group, that title. Whether they're serious or not, to me, in doing that, it's kind of unspoken encouragement to engage in the practices. It's a signifier that you're welcome to become what you want. And I'm not going to get in the way of that. And if you don't want the rank, tell me and I'll remove it. Otherwise, it stays. Because why not? I'd rather have more Sith than less. Ideally. That's not always the case. You can't always have that, but it is something worth working towards if you want to perpetuate the ways beyond yourself. So, there's not much expectation that a disciple is going to have a whole lot of experience. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Usually they don't. They're newbies. Knights are people who have immersed themselves in enough of the teachings, enough of the ideology on their own terms, and gained a command of their own path and their own life that it deserves recognition as being a knight in command of your own path. And Miles honed in on the idea that knights were part of a hierarchy and that they answered to somebody. That's not really the way it is with the Sith, though. You have to be a knight without a master. You have to be your own master. Because the next step after that is lordship over yourself and your own life. Answering only to yourself. Maintaining as close as you can get to absolute sovereignty. And that would be lordship. That would be a point where it's indisputable that you have command over your own path and life, a clear understanding of your own ideology, how it applies, rubber meets the road. And by the time you gain that title, gain recognition for it, all the stuff attached with knighthood should go without saying at that point. And there's no reason to strip them, because none of the stuff that went into attaining that title for anybody goes away. It might be further and further into the past, if you go inactive or something, but what you did, what you contributed, how far you progressed. Even if you backslide, that capability and the know-how to get back to that point and then go beyond is still intact. So there's no reason to tell somebody that they're no longer worthy of the title. If they feel that way, they can come to the council or whoever's governing the site in question at any given time and tell them, I would like my title removed, I would like to put my trust in you and go through an approval process. I would like to be legitimized by that approval process again. I've done that several times. I demoted myself at least twice and regained my standing both times. So I don't see the need to do that over and over and over again. But that's pretty much the long and short of it. Disciple is entry level. Knight is an experienced practitioner, experienced to the degree that the council judges them capable of spreading their own brand of Sith ideology to other practitioners. Not necessarily for the purposes of expanding or helping the order, but for magnifying their own presence and impact on the group as a group. It's never really about the group, though. You got to focus on the individual because darkness is about the individual. And I know I haven't given you much in this particular upload, but I'll write it out pretty soon too, and post that on the forum and maybe on the Facebook page. We'll see. So till next time,